So, good evening, all. This is Dr. Emmanuel Daniel, and thank you once again, Professor Sampson, for having me in this webinar this evening. So, today the topic for discussion is about social audit as a tool for social workers in CSR. As Sampson rightly pointed out, I have worked with various organizations in terms of CSR and funding. So, yeah, so this will be the synopsis for my presentation. So I'll be giving you an outline of what is social audit. Then we'll be discussing about SA 8000, which is a social auditing certification, ISO 14000, AA 1000, ISO 26000, and how this as a tool is going to help social workers. Okay, so this is going to be the scheme for my presentation, and I've told not to exceed 30 to 35 minutes, but however I'll try to do justice with the time whatever I've got. So if you have any questions, please post it in the chat box. After my lecture, I would love to take questions. So yeah, here we go. Okay, so talking about social audit. Social audit, for understanding social audit, we need to understand what is audit. Audit may be a financial inspection, but whereas social audit is auditing or inspecting or evaluating, what are the social activities which were carried out by the corporate. So you're just measuring it or maybe evaluating it. So that can be coined as social audit. And another one more thing is about it's a public disclosure of a company's social performance. So we do everything, but at times we will not be able to disclose what we have done. But if our work has been impressive, and we'll not mind sharing it. So this is a public disclosure. The next one is it's an internal evaluation. So only when you evaluate, you will know where you lack, what are the gaps, and also you will get to know where you stand and where you're supposed to move forward. And it is also an inspect a company's procedure to improve its social performance. So this social audit sort of gives us an opportunity to improve from square one or improve from where we are. The next one is it's a balance between social responsibility and making profits. So businesses, as we all know, it spends a lot of time in making profits. But here, this sort of helps to strike the balance between the social responsibility and making profits. Okay, so I've got two definitions. The first definition may be a little orthodox definition. The second definition is more a recent definition. So come, let's explore what these definitions talk about social audits. And excuse me, at the background, I'm getting some noise. Is it possible to arrest that? Yeah. So the definition goes this way. The social audit is an idea whose time has come, but which is not ready to be taken off the drawing board and put to work. So this is a very, very vague definition. But whereas if you see the second definition, so the first definition was given by Melvin, the second definition was given by Bovini. So here this person says it is a commitment to systematic assessment of and reporting on some meaningful definable domain of a company's activities that have social impact. So this definition sort of says that, trying to understand the social impact, you use various methods, you use various techniques in order to be systematic. Okay, so that's social audit. So these are some of the objectives of social audit. I'll quickly run through, and I would love to spend more time in the certifications. So here it is to assess the impact on the local communities. Talking about impact, it's very, very, very difficult to understand or measure impact. Impact can be felt, but of course, social audit sort of helps us to measure or to assess, to understand what was the difference that we have created. The next one, it helps us to understand social gaps. Anybody who implements projects can go wrong. So here it helps you where you went wrong and how you went wrong and how to come back. The next one, to assess the conditions of the work. Here you also assess the condition of work, for example, even inside the organization and also outside the organization. So to formulate initiatives for the development of local communities. So how are you emphasizing, how much are you emphasizing in your planning, and so on and so forth. The next one is to understand fair price of goods produced for the consumer. So here we need to understand our social audit doesn't just stop doing a lot of community work, measuring, understanding impact. No, it doesn't just stop there. Here you will sort of understand how you manufacture your product, and number two is how much have you priced it. For example, you manufacture a product which is worth 1 rupee and you are selling it for 500 rupees. That is cheating, so that cannot happen. So here they also understand that area. The next one is how much to ensure whether the resources are being used effectively. Using a resource in an effective manner is much different from exploiting it. So here, how much with whatever available resource are you able to do justice? So that is also one of the objectives of social audit. Now we will quickly understand four different certifications which are very, very, very important, and I'm sure that this is also one of your modules in your CSR paper. So SA 8000. SA stands for social audit. Okay, so there are certain components that we are going to discuss, and we as social workers should be aware of all those components, so that when we work in industries, when we work in organizations, we will be able to bring in these certifications to our organizations and take our organization or our company to the next level. So here, this is a social certification program. So this program doesn't say, there are different certifications exclusively for product quality, exclusively for environment, exclusively for labor practices, and so on and so forth. But this certification it gives you an overall, coverage, which means it gives you a holistic framework. Doesn't just focus one area, but in multiple areas. So here, this particular program was created by SAI, that is Social Accountability International, in the year 1997, and it is available for organizations of any size. Maybe 10 in an organization, yes, they are available. 1 lakh in an organization, yes, they are available. Okay, so here they protect almost 20 lakh 92,945 workers across the globe. Okay, so across the globe. So they have almost certified 4,483 organizations in 57 different industries across 61 countries. So this is about SA 8000, and maybe an overview of this particular certification. So here, if we talk about the dimensions, here there are a few dimensions I've given, and these are very important. Only when you have these components, you will be certified in that particular area. So the first one is child labor. You cannot have children working in your organization. So here you need to be very clear. If you are employing children in your organization, they will not certify you. The next one is forced labor. I'm sure that you will be knowing about forced labor. I would like to give you a small example on this. When I was working for a German funding organization, I had an opportunity to visit a project in Tirupur where they were working for people who were migrant laborers and forced laborers. The forced laborers, I tell you, some industries, they bring some North Indians for almost 3 years contract. They give them a small advance, maybe a 10,000, and they bring them here. So they promise food, they promise accommodation, they promise everything. And at the end of 3 years, they say, we give you lump sum of money and then we send you back. So there are many people who come that way. And what happens, after 2 years or 2.5 years, they torture them to the core and ensure that they run away from the place without getting that lump sum money. Now, who has got the profit? The company is getting profited, and whereas the people, poor people, they've lost their livelihood, they lost everything. So here, that is forced labor. If you are having that practice in your industry or an organization, this certification will not certify you. The next one is health and safety, which is very essential. Today, organizations expect laborers or employees to work so much, maybe even 24/7, but that's not in the papers. But then everybody are a lot of work is being extracted from the workers, but the health and safety is not seen. If in case the industry is not giving importance to health and safety, then maybe this certification will not certify your organization. So the next one is collective bargaining. I'm sure that we as social workers know the term what is collective bargaining, but however, would like to emphasize what is collective bargaining. So here, whenever there is a problem for you and you go alone and represent your case to the management, you'll be sacked, or there are possibilities that you may be even fired. So here, taking those things into consideration, you as a collective group, you also play a part in the workers participation in the management. When you have the trade union set up, these things are very essential for you to be certified by this company. The next one is discrimination. No discrimination at any point of time, on any basis, gender basis, or even wages basis, or caste, creed, religion, language, anything for that matter. No discrimination is allowed. The next one is disciplinary practices. They would like to know what are the disciplinary practices. For example, if a person is to be terminated, how a person will be terminated, on what basis the worker can be terminated, and so on and so forth. So the disciplinary practices to be mentioned. The next one is working hours. Working hours very essential. I did my internship in one particular industry where people used to do a lot of overtime, because overtime, I'm sure that that you get the double wages. So here, talking about the working hours, those to be limited and they should be in the prescribed thing. That's one. The next one is remuneration. Your remuneration cannot be just 1 month you get it on first, the next month you get it on 10th, the next month you get it on 30th. No, it cannot be that way. And you got to have uniformity, you got to have the pay structure, and so on and so forth. The next one is management system. How well you manage your things, and how systematic are you in your processes. So these are the elements of this particular standard. If you have all these things, and if you fulfill all these 9 criteria, then you can go for this particular certification. So here, when people go for this certification, it improves. There are 3 benefits. The first one is it benefits the employers. It benefits the employers in terms of profit. For example, how because here it says, it clearly gives a message that these people are more these people are more concerned for their own people. So which means it sends out the message that the product which they give to the community will also be good. So that's benefit for the employers. Benefit for the workers, when you have such practices. See, for example, when there's no discrimination, when there's no forced labor, when there's no hazards, health hazards, when there's proper working hours, I tell you, people would love to work in this organization. They would definitely not want to jump into different organizations just for a 500 or 1,000 or even a 2,000 increment. So that's benefit for the workers. The next one, benefit for the brand, is this gives you a brand image. I tell you, Tata Motors are really good in their products, genuine and fantastic. But I tell you, this social initiative sort of boosted the product, and then they have a different brand image. Today, we as social workers value Tatas not just because of the quality of the product, but because of the brand image. That brand image was created because of the social initiatives. So these are some of the brands which are associated with SA 8000. I'm sure that you would definitely know a few brands of Givenchy or Woolworth, something of that sort. Okay, so moving on to the next certification, that is ISO 14,000. So here, ISO 14,000. Okay, so I really like this. So that's the reason why I brought this particular quote. It says, "We are clearly the last generation that can change the course of climate change, but we are also the first generation with its consequences." Was once told by this CEO of World Bank. When I was just thinking of this particular quote, something came to my mind when I was just preparing. Couple of years back in a particular forum, when I was just talking about the water crisis, I said, down the lane in another 50 or 60 years time, I really don't know what our children are going to do or how they're going to face the water problem or water crisis. One gentleman who's a human rights activist stood up and he said, "Boss, just a minute." I was like, "What?" He said, "Don't worry about your children, worry about yourself." That shook me. I was reflecting this in my mind for a very long time. Okay, so we are a generation who can change the climate change, but we will also be the first generation to face its consequences. So there are 5 different things given by a particular organization. On these 5 things can happen, So what is our role as social workers, or as social workers in CSR, what is our role? So it says weapons of mass destruction can happen, extreme weather events, can happen, and natural disasters, as you all know, climate change, one day, you have a different climate, another day different climate, people dying, children and other living beings dying, a lot of things. Very importantly, water crisis. Maybe water crisis has not hit Coimbatore, but it has definitely hit places like Bangalore, places like Chennai, and there are several North Indian cities which are being affected by water crisis. Now, if this is the case, you and I, or maybe the industries or corporates, have a different role to play. Come, let's explore what is that. So this particular certification is ISO 14,000. This gives you a lot of different things. We will learn one by one. So this is a series of certification. This is not just only one certification. So here, this certification will help you to design, implement your EMS. EMS is that environment management system. So here, this is again applicable for organizations of any size. So here, almost 3 lakh organizations across 171 countries have been with are associated with this particular ISO 14,000. Now, these are the core elements. We studied 9 different elements in the previous um, certification, but this certification is slightly different. So here, the first one is environmental policy. You as a corporate or an organization should have this environment policy. So that is the EMS. Basically, how do you evacuate waste, and how do you do your waste management, and are you polluting the rivers or the lakes, and so on and so forth. So that's the environmental policy. You should have a clear policy along with how it is going to be implemented. So that is one. The next one is planning. How much time that you spend for planning matters a lot. So here, how do you plan in different phases? So that is again, in planning. The next one is implementation. In what way are you implementing? Are you doing the implementation, or else are you having an external agent who is going to do the implementation? So that is again implementation. The next one is study and correct. The study and correct part is, after implementation, you monitor and you understand where you're going wrong. Are you going the right track? So if you're going wrong, understand where are the gaps and submit it to the management. So management will see it from a different perspective, because management would have been a part when they were framing the environmental policy. Now it is coming to the decision makers. So this will sort of help them to reframe or rethink on their policy, so that they will only improve from the place and they will not go down, or maybe they will not decline. So that is continuous improvement. So these are the core elements, and this particular strategy should be there in your EMS. So the next one is importance of ISO 14,000. So here it reduces your risk. I tell you, I don't want to name this particular factory, but I've heard, even during my MSW days, nobody wants to get a plot near that particular cement factory, because for some people, that particular smoke sort of deposits in their lungs, and that creates some sort of infection. If this is going to be the case, you will not be certified with this particular certificate. But however, your EMS should reduce the risk and not increase the risk. The next one is lead by example. Anybody who are into the business would love to be examples, or maybe would love to stand out, or maybe would love to be in the limelight. So here you need to lead by example, so that you become models and you become the trendsetter for other organizations to follow. The next one is, if you see countries like United States of America or Canada, or maybe some European countries, when you are certified with this particular certification, you get tax exemptions. But in India, it is not the case, but in other countries, they do. So here, it also, encourages employees. It gives you a good feel to be a part of this particular setup when you are certified with this. The next one improves your brand image. For example, I'm sure that we as students give a lot of importance to certificates. If we as students, give a lot of importance to certificates, I'm sure that corporates or giants in the society would love to get those certifications to build their brand image. The next one is renewable and non-renewable resource. So here, this classifies what are the renewable and non-renewable resources, and it helps you to channelize it on how you will be able to use it. So the next certification, what we're going to talk about is AA 1000. AA stands for accountability. So that's accountability. So introduction, would like to take you through a very small introduction. So here, this certification is not just a mere certification. They help you to put your theory into practice. So this is an internationally accepted thing. For example, every country or every land will have their own policies, but this certification is beyond those policies, beyond legislations, because their standard is really high. The next one is sustainability performance, which we will be discussing about in the coming slides. The next one is manage and improve your accountability. How can you be more accountable? How can you have integrity into your workplace, so on and so forth. I really like this definition of accountability, and I brought it for you. So let's explore what is accountability. Accountability is the state of acknowledging, assuming responsibility for, and being transparent about the impacts of an organization's policies, decisions, actions, products, services, and associated performance. I have never found a fantastic definition than this for accountability. So we think accountability is just being accountability. To break it as short as possible is being responsible. If you and I ask this question, am I responsible? If you are a responsible person, then you are a person with accountability. So these are the four important principles of this particular certification. The first one is inclusivity. Second one is materiality. The third one is responsiveness. The fourth and the last one is impact. Talking about inclusivity, today we live in a world where people are ready to be exclusive. But how many are ready to be inclusive? How many people are ready to be genuine and include everybody? For example, some corporates, maybe not in a written policy, but then as a norm, they have it as a policy not to employ some people from one particular religion, or people from one particular state, or people from one particular caste. Is that inclusivity? Definitely not. Inclusivity is bringing everybody together. Everybody together. The next one, materiality, is about how you use your resources. Are you exploiting it, or are you using it in a right way to, and also are you passing on that resource to the next generation for them to consume or to use that? So that is materiality. Next one is responsiveness. How responsive I am towards the society. Social work, or maybe many NGOs, expect the industries to be proactive in terms of providing welfare to the society. It is because they feel that these people are giants in the society, and they also feel that they are financially strong. So here they are expected to have that responsiveness. The next one is very important, is impact. You do whatever you wish. You initiate any project, you get a lot of funding, you invest a lot, do anything. But if there is no impact, then your project is zero. So here, how many people, how many lives were you able to touch? What was the difference that you were able to make in the lives of people? Were you able to add meaning in their life? So that is impact. And these four things are very, very, very important according to this certification. So here the key advantages is stakeholder engagement. Stakeholders, as you all know, that stakeholders are people who are connected with the corporate or the organization or that particular entity. There may be customers, government, suppliers, middlemen, customers, even people who are working there, stakeholder engagement. So how, that basically improves. The next one, identifying sustainable areas or sustainable practices. Today you initiate a product, tomorrow that product should not perish because that was not sustainable. So you initiate things that will sort of be sustainable. The next one is clear organizational strategies. You should be a person, or maybe a corporate or an agency, which gives a lot of importance to strategizing things, working out different plans, and adopting new trends. So that is, these are some of the key advantages. Okay, so the next one which we're gonna go is ISO 26000. Okay, so this is yet another certification. So here, this is, I really like the word. That's why I brought in this in the first line. This is intended as a guidance and not as a certification. How many people today, many people study MSW. Some people study for certification, some people study for jobs, some people study for different purposes. How many people really study MSW just because you love the subject, you love the subject, you keep falling in love with the subject. So here, this particular certification is got not to tell that I'm certified and you put it in the on the wall. No, this is a guidance. They travel with you, they handhold you, they take you forward in journey. So here, this is a comprehensive document which was published in the year 2010, was written by different people, maybe 400 experts from 42 organizations from 99 countries came together to build ISO 26000. So here, yeah, so this is the definition. Let's explore what is this. ISO 26000 is defined as the international standard developed to help organizations effectively assess and address social responsibilities that are relevant and significant to their mission and vision, operations and processes, customers, employees, communities, and other stakeholders, and environmental impact. So here, again, this is an international standard. Okay, so where they'll be able to assess and address what were your social responsibilities, how you were able to do, what was your contribution, something very similar to the ones which we studied in the previous slides. So here, this is the key principle of ISO 26000. So first one is ethical behavior. For example, I manufacture a product and I give it to, or I pass it on to the customer, and I think that my role is over. This is wrong. I cannot be of this sort. So I should be ethically right. So whatever product that I manufacture, a customer should be able to enjoy it. And if the customer is having some difficulty in that, and when he or she brings it back to me, I should be in a position to accept that and help them out. I cannot say, my relationship with you is over, so I'm not gonna, spend time with you. No, that is not the right attitude. So you gotta have ethical behavior. The next one is accountability. Accountability is responsibility. So when you have ethical behavior and accountability, you will definitely be transparent, because nobody wants to show their gray area to people. So here, when you have these two components, transparency automatically follows. The next one is respect for stakeholder interests. People would love to connect with you, not just because of your product, but then they also would love to be a part of the process, the business. So here, are you entertaining them? So even stakeholder management is very important as per this particular certification. Next one is respect for the law. Just because your standards are high, you cannot say that I'm not going to respect the law of the land. No, you got to abide with that. The next one, respect for international norms. For example, when you talk about human rights, when you talk about working hours, there are some international norms that you'll have to follow. The next one is human rights. Human rights are rights from birth to death. So here, for a human being, yeah. So human rights basically sort of, there should not be any violations. There should be a proper way of all how the human rights are being implemented, or the rights for the employees are being implemented in the sector. So these are some key principles. So here, talking about this particular thing is, it is about, the first one, it starts with labor practices. For example, there are many organizations today, they have this hire and fire policy. They're ready to hire, they're ready to fire anytime. No, you cannot be of that sort. The way how you treat your employees also matters a lot according to this certification. Here, talking about labor practices, what is your recruitment procedure, what is your termination procedure, and these all the things that comes under this particular section. The next one is fair operating practices. How well are you able to operate, and how well are you able to come out with policies and so things like that. So that's fair operating process. The next one is very important component, the environment. So are you damaging the environment, or are you using the environment to make profit, or are you, having a very good environment policy? I know many industries in Coimbatore have fantastic environmental policies. I've also seen a couple of plantations, maybe in Nilgiris for that sake, connecting their waste in the river or maybe in the spring. Even that happens there. So here, the environment, you need to give importance to environment. The next one is customer issues. As I said earlier, no, are you dealing with your customer issues, or else are you encouraging or encouraging them, or are you just turning your face and saying a no to your customer? So because your customer is also a stakeholder. The next one is human rights. How well you were able to implement your human rights. Next one, community involvement and development. What is your role in the community? So as we saw in the previous slides, talking about community involvement and development, were you able to make a difference, or it is just that, the day when I came, I initiated certain projects, no impact, the unemployment rate is the same, the poverty is the same, people who live in the poverty are the same, the uneducated, illiteracy is still the same. If that's the case, what is the difference that you brought it? So here, community involvement and development, were you able to show a difference? Next one is organizational governance. You should have a proper administration or a proper managing or proper delegation. So these are the things. So these are very, very, very important for this particular certification. The next one, the very last one, which is a very important one, is social audit as a tool for our social workers. Social work as a big field, or as an emerging field, has got several areas or several sectors, and CSR is one of the very, very, very important and an emerging field. There are not many people who have accomplished things in CSR. It's an emerging field. It's just like a baby. And social audit is very, very, very important in CSR. CSR is not about implementing things and spending the money however they want. No, or partnering with an NGO. No, it is to make some difference. And when you are making a difference and when you are bringing an impact, if you are not covering that, or if you are not taking that information, or if you are not learning from that, then you are missing out something really big. So here, social audit, that is where social audit is very important for any organization. So here, social audit sort of inculcates the transparency in an organization. So social audit becomes like a document which helps you to grow, not separately, grow along with the society, move with the society. So here, when you are transparent that you have done this, you have spent so much of money in the community, you should be transparent, you should feel proud of it. If you are hiding something, you will only mess up. The next one is increasing accountability. It increases your accountability, improves allocation of resources. It helps you to have good practices, good financial practices, good way of implementing things, implementing projects. And it not just stops there, but it helps you to how you channelize your resources, how you allocate things. For example, if you're spending too much on one particular zone, this social audit, through the social audit, you get to know that you're going somewhere wrong. So here, how to improve those areas. The next one is monitors the social and ethical impact. I'm sure that you know the difference between monitoring and evaluation. Monitoring is a periodical check, whereas evaluation is mostly done at the end of the program. Some people have the mid evaluation. So here you monitor the social and ethical impact, what you were able to bring in, so that if there is something wrong or if there is something good, that to be taken. Okay. The last one is provides corrective directions and help in redefining strategies. At the end of the day, this particular social audit will help you to understand where you stand, how firm you stand, and what difference that you can make in the community, what you've adopted. So this is the social audit as a tool for social workers. So I'm done with my presentation, and I would love to hear from you, because I'm sure that you would have some questions. If you have some questions, please feel free to discuss or put it in the chat box. I would love to listen to you.